Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to 5 people who claim to be time travelers. Now, time travel is something that really fascinates me. Any movie that has an element of time travel to it, I've probably seen or will see very soon. I hope that it becomes possible in future. I don't know if we have it now, but it's just, imagine the prospect of being able to go back to the past, go to the future and just observe how the world is different. But there is a big part of me that's skeptical, because it's just, how would you even achieve it? How would you begin to build a time machine? You know, I just don't know if such technology will ever exist. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. This video here, people are claiming to be time travelers. I will watch and listen with a completely open mind. However, I will kind of veer on the side of skepticism, because it's just really like, you actually are a time traveler. Like, do you guys think time travel is real? Do you think it's possible? Let me know what you guys think during this video, if you think it's true or not. Yeah, this should be a really fun one, guys. Let's do it.
We had a look at apparent time travelers over 2 years ago on this channel, and since then, I have been asked numerous times to revisit the topic. Up until now, however, I haven't had a reason to, but over the last few years, countless stories are starting to pop up of people who claim they are time travelers. Really? Their stories are intriguing, bizarre, and at times hard to believe, but it's still worth taking a look at. So here are 5 people who claim to be time travelers. Number 1. In the 1920s, a Swiss teacher named Paul Dinick went into a coma for a year. When he woke up, he began writing diary entries but didn't tell anybody what they were about. That is, until he contacted one of his students so that they could translate it. It was revealed that Paul's diary entries weren't normal at all. Instead, they were detailed accounts of a fascinating story. He claims that during his coma, he awoke in the year 3906 AD as a man named Andrew Northman, a famous physician who had also just woken up from a coma. Paul claims that their bodies must have switched somehow during both of their accidents, and also makes some interesting predictions about the future. He claims that Earth will colonize Mars in around 200 years, but a natural disaster will occur that will wipe out the 20 million people living on the planet. He also states that a global war will occur 100 years later, and that it will be devastating to the planet, but will eventually end in a union. This global union will lead to a huge improvement on the planet, and the quality of people's lives will increase drastically.
I mean, his claims are very plausible. You know, they are very plausible. But the whole body swap thing,
These journal entries were surprisingly detailed, and it felt like Paul genuinely believed what he was writing. But what's more surprising than that is that he never wanted anybody to read them. It was only after he gave them to his student that the journals were released, and Paul's story was discovered. If it wasn't for that, he more than likely would have kept it to himself. It's obviously hard to believe that this actually happened, and that Paul spent a period of time 2,000 years in the future, but it is actually believable that he thought this happened. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but if his predictions come true, that would be a good sign that he was telling the truth.
I mean, the fact that he didn't publicize his claims, like he didn't go seeking attention, adds a tiny bit of credibility to it. But the whole body swap thing, how do you explain that? I'm not sure about this one. What do you guys think?
Number 2. In 2003, a computer programmer living in Iowa, known as Dave Hill, got a number of interesting emails. The messages were marked as spam, but they weren't your traditional junk emails. Instead, they were emails from a man named Bob White, offering $5,000 to whoever could get a number of bizarre items, including an AMD dimensional warp generator and a time transducing capacitor. Hill
sounds like something from Back to the Future. Flux capacitor.
Was obviously intrigued and responded to this email stating that he could get what White needed. He photoshopped an online store and even sent White a box containing an old motor that he stated was the warp generator. Hill wanted White to come clean and say that this was a joke, but he never did. Instead, he thanked him for sending him the parts and asked him to help him with obtaining more items. Dave decided to stop his charade when he realized how serious this man was being about his mission, and after these emails spread a little bit and gained some popularity, the man was identified as Robert J. Tadino, a man who was in his young 20s who truly wanted to travel through time. It's hard to tell if Dinick believed he was a time traveler or if he simply wanted to do it, because some of the emails are conflicting, with some of them saying that they are a time traveler from 2003 and others simply saying that they want to travel through time. Either way, Dinick claimed that he sent over 100 million messages, so it's probably both. He claimed that he was 100% serious and that his mental state was completely perfect, and at times that was easy to believe because he seemed quite rational, but it was later revealed that he had been diagnosed with a number of mental illnesses. It's difficult to tell how many emails were actually sent by Dinick and how many others were sent by random people who are also claiming to be time travelers, but this remains as one of the most interesting spam email stories of the last few decades.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. There's nothing really about that compels me to believe it. What are your thoughts?
Number 3. In 2002, a French Catholic priest and writer known as Father Francois Brune wrote a book called The Vaticans New Mystery. In the book, Brune wrote about an Italian priest and scientist named Pellegrino Ernetti, who apparently built a machine with a team of scientists known as the chronovisor. This machine was allegedly able to pick up the radioactive frequencies of past events and essentially recreate them in real time, meaning the viewer could watch these events unfold as they were happening. Ernetti himself has stated that he used this machine to view certain historic events, including a performance of a lost piece of work in Rome in 169 BC, and even the crucifixion of Christ himself. Wow. He even stated that he photographed Jesus, and that photo was apparently leaked in 1972. This claim has been doubted, however, because it heavily resembles a sculpture created around the same time. While Brune and Ernetti's story is definitely interesting, a lot of people believe it's either fabricated or exaggerated. However, others believe that it's not only real, but that the machine is still being used by the Vatican today. The Vatican has been known for their numerous secrets, so certain theorists believe that they are using this device to gain more power in the world.
I mean, the Vatican, to my knowledge, does have a lot of secret texts and things like that it doesn't grant anyone access to outside of the Vatican. But to think they've got a machine that can actually view, and how would they view? Do you view the past events on some kind of screen? How is the machine powered? Like, a lot of questions here.
Number 4. Apex TV is a YouTube channel that speaks to an array of different people who claim to be from the future. While they have had many different people on their channel, one of the most recurring guests is a man named Noah. Noah's first video was made in 2017, and he claims to be a time traveler from the year 2030 who is stuck in present time. He also makes several predictions, the biggest being that time travel will be released to the public in 2028. He also states that the technology has been discovered, but it's being kept a secret.
There is no way that if time travel was invented, it would just be released to the public. There is no way. The amount of damage that would be done by people going back and changing the past and this and that, it would be very few people with access to that, I think anyway.
Since this video has been released, Noah has made dozens of videos with Apex TV where he tries to prove that his story is true. In these videos, he does interviews, takes lie detector tests, and shows the audience things that are allegedly from the future, such as library pages, future maps of America, and nanotechnology. He also makes videos where he reveals the future of places like Canada, India, and the UK. Sometimes it is definitely hard to believe Noah's story, but if he is lying, he is going through a lot of effort to convince us otherwise. Videos about Noah are still being released.
That's just black goo. Like, what's that meant to be?
Today, so his story is ongoing, which means we should have more answers soon.
Hello to everybody who's watching me right now. I want to be clear while making this video. It is not my intent to deceive anybody. My sole objective is to prove to you that time travel exists in the next few years. In fact, I, myself, am a time traveler. I have traveled back to November 13th, 2017 from early in the year 2021. First of all of time travel will become possible in the year 2003. It is, however, only used by top secret organizations. The ability to time travel is not planned to be released to the public until 2028. I would like to give you specific facts about the future that will prove to you time travel exists, including who the President of the United States is in 2021. In just 4 years, you will see that my predictions are true. Then you'll come back to this video and know that time travel really does exist.
If you want to prove that time travel is real and you're a time traveler, announce what the super lottery, whatever it's the Powerball numbers are, predict what they'll be, and if it's true, I'll believe you. You know, it's pretty simple if you want to prove it.
In 2028, the private organizations will admit to the world that time travel is real, and it'll be open to the public. Now I'll tell you the reality of our future. For one, electric cars and self-driving cars will be dramatically improved. A consumer electric car will be able to drive over 600 miles on a single charge in 2021. Many people are spending a lot of their time in virtual reality. I would highly recommend investing your time and money in sustainable energy, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence. AI will also be a huge and growing market in 2021.
I mean, all of this stuff, most people reckon this is going to happen anyway.
Number 5. In 2013, a YouTube channel known as The Time Authority uploaded an interview with somebody who claimed to be a time traveler from the 30th century. The questions were apparently vetted by the time traveler himself so that nothing would drastically change in present day. He claims that he traveled to 2013 in a vehicle, but that time travel is possible and available in many forms in the future. He also states that money will soon be non-existent, and that many different societies are soon going to collapse due to a number of impending catastrophes. The interviewer seems pretty unimpressed by the time traveler's answers, but he does answer each question quite rationally, which makes the video interesting to watch. There hasn't been much of an update on this interview as of yet, so it's hard to know what happened after this, but he did make some predictions that are supposed to happen soon, so I guess we'll soon find out whether he was telling the truth or not.
Can you give me a sense of what's going to happen in our future? I mean,
in your lifetime?
In my lifetime.
Money, as you know it, disappears relatively soon after this interview.
Okay.
But the end of money is actually a good thing.
The end of money, huh?
Your children and great-grandchildren will certainly see catastrophe.
So, these are terrible things that you're telling me.
When societies collapse, it's not pretty.
I was sort of under the impression that there was going to be a kind of a message of hope from the future.
Well, I'm here to tell you that limited resources...
Predict something
food,
specific.
Energy, what you would call money, exchange rates, those things are no longer limited.
Don't you think, though, that it would help, not just me, others, understand that this is real, what you're talking about, if we had some proof of...
Yeah.
No, that's not what I agreed to in this interview. I agreed to talk to you about my experiences, and the messages that I'm here to seed are getting out there. We know that what I'm doing, that the organization that I'm part of, the stuff we do works. And it's not for you to question our methods.
Okay. And that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button.
I can't say a single one of those people really persuaded me about, time travel being real and them being time travelers. I think it's just such an easy thing to prove. Predict something that there is just no way anyone could guess that. Predict, because there's things that happen every day that are just completely wild, right? That nobody saw coming. Like, for example, Chelsea fired, their manager, the football club. If you predicted that, 6 weeks ago, that on this specific day, this guy would get fired, I would believe you. Because how would you be able to predict that such a specific thing on such a specific day? You guys probably follow what I'm saying. It's just to say things like, oh, we will colonize Mars and, this and that. It's just, Elon is already working on that. It's just, that's such an easy thing to predict, it's just, I don't know, it just seems, I don't know, as much as I want time travel to be real, because think about it, if time travel was real, people from that time would probably have come back now. So we would have been maybe observing, unless they were invisible and they kept themselves from being observed, we would see signs of time travel, wouldn't we? I don't know, I'm skeptical here. What do you guys think? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.